I did a little analysis this week where I took and I used the Brock Osweiler trade as kind of the base, right? They basically paid $16 million for a second round pick.
There you go.
And then I mapped it using the draft value chart, right? 3,000 points for the first pick, 2,600 for the second. And I assigned a cap value to every single pick in the draft.
This is brilliant. Love this. Okay.
I just wanted to see if we did something with Jimmy's contract, what would that mean in cap value, right? Yes. Not cap value, but draft capital.
Yes.
And so after I adjusted it for this year's cap, it came out to pick 21 in the first round.
Wow.
And so I thought just by cutting Jimmy, that's the amount of draft capital we essentially, when you set this relationship up.
So it's like, I'm terrible at math, but what you're saying is if you get rid of Jimmy and you had an extra 23.6 million or whatever it is that you would free up and you tried to buy a draft pick.
Exactly.
You could get the 21st pick in the draft.
You could get the 21st pick in the draft.
Wow. If it was for sale.
If you could go and buy draft picks with cap dollars.
Wow.
And so when folks are starting to talk about, if we cut Jimmy, we get nothing, right? That's what that question made me think about, well, you're not getting nothing, right? Mm-hmm. If you look at it in the sense of draft capital, it's the 21st pick.
Yes.
And so, and you can kind of use this to go through a couple different scenarios, right? Let's say you waited halfway through the season to cut Jimmy, or not cut him, trade him, right? Mm-hmm. You could go and look at the dollar amount that you got in draft capital back. Mm-hmm. And you could also see, by only paying him like half his salary, what you get back there.
So it's like you do what the Rams did. You send him off, but you say, we'll pay for part of this.
Right.
We'll pay for part of Jimmy, and we want a better draft pick in return.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you get some cap relief and a pick to please all parts of the organization. That's very clever.
Right. I just thought this would be kind of an interesting data point for that question when folks are like, you got to get something for Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
And you can also look at, well, let's say we decide to take the risk, right? Well, if Jimmy plays well this year, we could get a first round pick, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what I'm telling you is you got to pay that first round pick to even see, right?
Yeah.
So unless you think you're going to get better than the 21st overall pick, you can't do it.
No.
And so I thought that was the other question I wanted to answer. If we paid Jimmy this year and we ended up with a first round pick, what pick would we have to get to not lose anything? You'd have to get the 20th or higher pick. And I'm thinking a team that's going to trade for him would be like a playoff contender, right? Like they're in a tough spot. Yes. And they're like, we need a veteran quarterback that can come in here. We've got a good team around. I'm maybe the Broncos or something, right? There's not a whole lot of teams that fit that bill, right? But they would likely go to the playoffs. And would you actually get a pick that would be better than the 21st overall pick?
No, most likely not. So create the cap space. It's more valuable than you realize.
It's more valuable than any pick, I think.
Second round pick, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so either you trade him before the season starts, right, and get some, like even if you trade him for a 6th round pick, like nothing, right? You're still getting that capital back.
Yes.
And so I think the optimal thing is either to trade him for the 6th round pick, whatever he's worth, anything he's worth.
Yeah.
And get rid of the contract before the season starts.
I think that let's give the Niners the benefit of the doubt that they're doing this right, that they know they don't have to pay Jimmy $1 until week 1. They want Trey Lance to win the job so that there's no split in the locker room because some people may feel Jimmy should be the quarterback even if they're wrong. And then handle this September 1 or September 2, something like that.
Right. And that's why when I did this chart up, I was thinking the 49ers are thinking something like this.
Yes.
It's only one data point, that Brock Osweiler trade, right? Like, so
it's a good one. And another one is the Jared Goff trade. The Niners and Rams are doing very similar things. That's how the Rams got rid of Jared Goff. They they paid to get a better draft pick in return. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
cool.
like I said, I just thought it was a cool data point.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you for doing all that work. I never could have figured that out in a
It
million
took me
years. I appreciate
15
it.
minutes, Grant. It was actually pretty easy.
Well, that's why they call you Steve Jobs. You're the 49ers head capologist.
Head
Thank you very much.
capologist, right?
Great call, man. Great stuff.
All right, thanks,
All right.
man. You have a
Take
good
care.
weekend.